Is the global power dynamic shifting before our very eyes? In the heart of Africa's Sahel, a revolutionary wave is reshaping the rules of engagement. Ibrahim Traoré, Assimi Goïta, and Abdourahamane Tchiani have boldly declared, the era of Western dominance is over. How will Donald Trump, back in the White House, respond to this defiance? Chapter 1. The end of compliance. For decades, Africa's Sahel region has been treated as a pawn in global geopolitics, a place rich in resources but burdened by Western exploitation, military interventions, and dependency-driven aid programs. But now, three leaders, Captain Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso, Colonel Assimi Goïta of Mali, and General Abdourahamane Tchiani of Niger, are standing up to centuries of domination. These men are no ordinary leaders. They are symbols of a movement prioritizing sovereignty, equity, and dignity over submission. Their rise to power marks a pivotal moment in Africa's modern history, and their defiance has not gone unnoticed. Their actions have stunned Western powers, leaving leaders like Donald Trump with a choice: adapt to Africa's demands for respect or risk losing influence entirely. Chapter 2. The Legacy of Exploitation. To understand the bold steps being taken by Sahelian leaders, we must first acknowledge the history that brought us here. For centuries, Africa has been treated as a treasure chest for Western powers. Its resources, gold, diamonds, uranium, and now lithium, have been extracted to fuel the prosperity of foreign nations, often with little regard for the people who live there. Western corporations have long dominated Africa's industries, reaping immense profits while leaving local populations in poverty. Even today, financial aid often comes with strings attached, forcing African nations to adopt policies that benefit Western economies rather than their own. The political interference has been equally destructive. Western nations have supported coups, regime changes, and leaders willing to prioritize foreign interests over their own people. For many Africans, this history is not just a series of distant events, it's a living memory, one that leaders like Traoré, Goïta, and Tchiani are determined to overcome. Chapter 3. Burkina Faso. At just 34 years old, Captain Ibrahim Traoré has become a revolutionary icon in Burkina Faso, rising to power in 2022. Traoré has made it clear that his country will no longer bow to foreign powers. One of his first major moves was to expel French troops in early 2023, accusing them of failing to address the growing terrorist threats in the region. He then turned to Russia for military support, securing arms deals and training programs that have strengthened Burkina Faso's defense capabilities. Unlike many leaders who live lavishly at the expense of their citizens, Traoré has taken an entirely different approach. First, he slashed the salaries of ministers and parliamentarians by 30%. This move wasn't just symbolic. It freed up resources to increase the wages of civil servants by 50%, showing he values the people doing the real work to keep the nation running. But here's the thing, Traoré has refused to accept his presidential salary. Instead, he draws the modest pay of a captain, which aligns with his military rank. That's right, he's a president who lives like one of his soldiers, leading by example and proving that public service is about serving others, not enriching oneself. Traoré's ideals echo those of Burkina Faso's iconic leader, Thomas Sankara, known as the African Che Guevara. Sankara famously rejected foreign aid, arguing that Africa has everything it needs within its borders, from gold to uranium, diamonds to coltan. Burkina Faso is rich in resources essential for modern technology. In many African nations, politics has become a gateway to wealth, with officials using their positions to enrich themselves and their families. Traoré is having none of it. He's declared that no one should become rich from politics, making it clear that public office is a responsibility, not a business opportunity. Chapter 4. Economic Independence. Burkina Faso, under Traoré's leadership, is rejecting the traditional reliance on foreign aid and loans from institutions like the IMF and the World Bank. He firmly believes that Africa has enough resources to stand on its own feet, and he's proving it in just 2 years. Burkina Faso's GDP grew from $18 billion to $22 billion, a significant leap that many thought was impossible without external help. Traoré's message is clear. Africa does not need Western financial institutions that trap countries in cycles of debt. Instead of borrowing, Traoré introduced a groundbreaking initiative where citizens contribute a portion of their salaries to a national fund. This fund is being used to build roads, hospitals, and infrastructure, critical needs that were once dependent on external financing. Imagine a country financing its own development without falling into the debt trap. This is exactly what Traoré is making happen in Burkina Faso. Chapter 5. A president with the people in mind. Traoré's leadership isn't just about policies, it's about trust. His decision to reject loans from international institutions shows his commitment to preserving Burkina Faso's sovereignty. He understands the dangers of debt traps, where countries borrow money only to find themselves at the mercy of creditors who exploit their resources. By encouraging his citizens to invest in their country, Traoré is fostering a sense of unity and shared purpose. It's not just his government working to build roads, hospitals, and schools. It's the people themselves, contributing their hard-earned money to create a brighter future. Chapter 6. Revolutionizing agriculture and industry. Agriculture remains the backbone of Burkina Faso's economy, and Traoré is making sure it flourishes. He has distributed 400 tractors, 230 tillers, and 710 motor pumps to farmers across the country, empowering them to increase production and reduce dependency on imports. Additionally, he provided access to improved seeds and farming inputs to maximize agricultural output. On the industrial front, Burkina Faso used to export raw materials like cotton and tomatoes to foreign companies, who would process and sell them back at higher prices. Traoré put an end to this by establishing 2 tomato processing plants and a national support center for artisanal cotton processing. For the first time, the country is processing its own products, creating jobs and adding value to local resources. Chapter 7. Ending exploitation of natural resources. Gold is one of Burkina Faso's most valuable resources, yet for years, it was being shipped unrefined to Europe, where it was processed and resold at higher prices. Not anymore. In 2023, Traoré inaugurated a state-of-the-art gold refinery that ensures the country benefits fully from its resources. By refining gold locally, Burkina Faso is keeping wealth within its borders and securing better deals for its people. Moreover, Traoré has banned the export of unrefined gold and other minerals, ensuring that foreign companies no longer exploit Burkina Faso's natural wealth. This decision has sparked debates across the continent, with many praising his courage to stand up against long-standing exploitative practices. Chapter 8. Cultural identity and national pride. Traoré is not just changing the economy, he's also reviving national pride. One of his most symbolic moves was banning the use of British-style legal wigs in the country's courtrooms. Why should African legal professionals wear symbols of colonial rule? Instead, he introduced traditional Burkina Faso attire for legal proceedings, a move that was met with widespread support. This may seem like a small change, but it sends a powerful message. Burkina Faso is embracing its identity and shedding the remnants of colonial influence. The pride of the people has never been stronger. Chapter 9. Influence. In a move that shocked the world, Traoré expelled the French military from Burkina Faso. The country had long been home to French troops under the guise of providing security and assistance. However, Traoré saw this as a form of neo-colonial control and decided it was time to take matters into their own hands. Not stopping there, he also expelled French media outlets, arguing that they misrepresented the situation in Burkina Faso and perpetuated negative narratives about Africa. By doing this, Traoré is ensuring that Burkina Faso's story is told by its own people without foreign interference. Chapter 10. Mali. Goïta's break from the West. Colonel Assimi Goïta, who has led Mali since 2021, has taken similarly bold steps to distance his nation from Western influence, like Traoré. Goïta expelled French military forces, ending decades of cooperation that many Malians felt was one-sided and ineffective. Goïta's administration went further by banning Western-funded NGOs, citing concerns over foreign interference in Mali's domestic affairs. Instead, he has aligned his government with Russia, relying on the Wagner Group, a controversial Russian private military company, for counterterrorism efforts. For Goïta, these decisions are not just about rejecting the West, but about asserting Mali's sovereignty. His leadership has sent a powerful message to the world. Mali will no longer be dictated to by foreign powers. Chapter 11. Niger. Chiani's historic stand. General Abdourahmane. Chiani took power in Niger in 2023, and his leadership has already made waves globally. One of his first acts was to terminate Niger's military cooperation with the United States, a move that shocked many in Washington. Chiani's reasoning was laid bare in a televised address to the Nigerian public. He revealed several grievances about the U.S. presence in Niger. U.S. military operations were allegedly conducted without formal agreements, violating Niger's legal protocols. Niger received no compensation for hosting U.S. troops, unlike countries like Djibouti, which earns $63 million annually for the same. Niger was reportedly forced to cover operational costs for U.S. military aircraft stationed on its soil. The U.S. allegedly withheld critical intelligence on terrorist activities, undermining Niger's security efforts. Chiani's administration also accused the U.S. of exploiting Niger's resources without fair returns. In a particularly damning statement, Chiani described the cooperation as self-inflicted humiliation, declaring, "We are no one's subordinates." By severing ties with the U.S. and deepening relationships with Russia, China, and Iran, Niger has charted a bold new course that prioritizes its own interests over foreign demands. Chapter 12. The Sahel's New Era. The actions of Traoré, Goïta, and Chiani are not isolated incidents. They are part of a broader movement sweeping across the Sahel. This movement rejects the old model of Western military bases, economic exploitation, and political interference. Instead, it embraces a vision of sovereignty and equal partnerships. But what does this mean for global geopolitics? With Russia and China stepping in as key allies for the Sahel, the balance of power is shifting. For the United States, this represents a significant challenge. How will Donald Trump, with his transactional America First approach, navigate this new reality? Chapter 13. Trump's Dilemma. Donald Trump's return to the presidency comes at a time when U.S. influence in the Sahel is rapidly fading. Unlike Joe Biden, who emphasized multilateralism and democracy promotion, Trump has shown little interest in ideological alignment. His focus has always been on deals that benefit America, often at the expense of traditional diplomacy. This could work in his favor if he chooses to engage pragmatically with Sahelian leaders. Traoré, Goïta, and Chiani have made it clear they are open to partnerships, just not ones that undermine their sovereignty. Trump's willingness to break from diplomatic norms might enable him to negotiate new agreements based on mutual respect and benefit. However, Trump's track record suggests another possibility: disengagement. If he views the Sahel's alignment with Russia and China as a direct affront to U.S. interests, he might choose to pull back entirely. Such a move would further cede influence in a strategically important region, raising questions about America's role in a rapidly changing world. As the Sahel asserts its independence, the stakes couldn't be higher. For the people of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, this is a moment of empowerment, a chance to reclaim control over their futures. For the United States, it's a test of adaptability in an era where old power dynamics no longer apply. This isn't just a story about distant nations. It's a story about the future of global politics, about who gets to call the shots and who gets left behind. It's a reminder that even the most entrenched systems of power can be challenged, And that change often begins with a few courageous leaders willing to stand up and say, "Enough." What do you think about the Sahel's bold stand against Western dominance? How should the U.S. respond? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update on stories that matter. Let's dive into these questions together.